Welcome back to Factorio Space Age Megabase. My name is Nilaus and we are back here on Fulgora. I thought we might take a break from our legendary spaceship production and take a look at Fulgora just as a change of pace. So this is how we currently make electromagnetic science. We're using legendary, and the problem with this legendary is that it needs all of this just to produce a legendary Homium to keep a little bit of this one running, and it's not even running all the time. So I think legendary Homium is a cute little idea for a non-megabase, but for a megabase we can't really support that. This is simply too much effort for too little gain. So what we need to do is we need to make the normal build of this, and my intention is that I want to have one of these good locations that have a lot of scrap, because that will basically never run out. When we look at our research productivity, it's at 500%. So yeah, it's probably not going to be running out, or not 500%, but yeah, 5,000%. So it's not really ever going to run out, this one. So what if we could take one of these locations, bring it in to a city block, having this city block do everything, just all the processing, in order to make the rocket components, the blue circuits, the low density structures, and the rocket fuel, and on top of that make the electromagnetic science all in one little city block, and then put it into rockets up here. And then we have something that is scalable, exactly like what we did on Vulcanus for the purple science. We're just going to make it much smaller because I think we can fit it into one city block. So that's the objective today. It's going to be a hell of a challenge, and I hope it's going to work. So let's see. If you find that interesting, and is generally this series interesting, be sure to hit the like button and leave a comment below for something, good ideas, bad ideas, or questions. And of course, as always, I'm providing these blueprints as a gift to the patron supporters who are supporting the channel. So thank you very much for supporting. What I want to do is I want to say this is something we built in our previous series, and it works really well. So what we can do is we're simply going to take this part here and copy it and let that form the basis for what we're doing here. So let's have a look at what this does, and just remove some of the extra things here. So this one, I think I also want to take it a little bit out like this, and just get it maybe more like that, for example. So let's have a look at what this does. This takes scrap in. And you know what? I'm just going to get all the stuff sorted here so we can... yeah, I don't want to look at ghost images. So now this is built and all the way upgraded. I put speed modules into everything because the objective for this is that I want this to go as fast as possible. Funny how these just turned the wrong way. Here. So I want it to go as much as possible and consume as much as possible, because everything when I do this recycling here is going to be capped by whatever is the lowest, and Homium, there is no way to get more Homium than this. So Homium will almost certainly be our bottleneck, or I want Homium to be the bottleneck because everything else can be made. So that's that should be the objective. But let's try and show how this works, and then optimize this one recycler as much as possible. So I'll walk through what all this means, but the first thing we need to do is get some inbounds. So what I want to do is I want to build something here. Let's do something like this, and then I'm going to do something crazy like that, and we're going to be doing it into a box, because each of these are now producing 265. So this is outputting more than a full belt outbound, and this is also more than a full belt. That needs to get out, and I can't get that out into a full saturated belt, because if you put it into a normal box, you just simply cannot get enough outserters into belts from this. So what I need to do is I need to do something like this, which gives me now a much better capability to make a full belt. So this is now a 2 full belts outbound, and that's still gonna work, and there we go. So that's 2 belts outbound. Then for this I need that, and I need also of course sort of a lightning rod to support it, and then this goes over to the other one. We're luckily in the position where I can, not saying indiscriminately, but I can use quite a lot of these. Don't have to save that. Let's cut this here first. Why is this working? Oh, right, it's working because of that. Let's just link it up here. There we go. That looks awful with these long-range connections here. There we go. So this is now connected. This is now protected. It goes in here. If I fire this up, we're going to see what happens. And we're just going to pass it. So it goes in and splits on 4 different belts. 2 of the belts go in to this area, these 4, and the other 2 go out the other side and go to these 4. That's just how it works. So what happens now is that each of these, they're working pretty fast. They're processing 92 per second, and then they will be outputting into a box. This box is allowing it to accrue, and it's a passive provider, which means it's part of the robot network. It's now important that this is built as separate from your existing robot network, but it is sort of its own thing. These are going to be filled up, and then I have a location here that says anything that is above 200, I'll just send an output of that signal, which means you can see the output signal is anything that goes above 200 will get an output signal. That output signal is then set as a filter for the stack inserter. This will guarantee 2 things. First of all, we retain up to 200 of each item into these boxes. The second thing is that whatever comes out in the belt and gets recycled is going to be stacked, because we want things to run on a stack belt, becoming in a stack belt. And then what happens now is that I'm saying I'm not going to use any iron gears, and 20% of my output is iron gears. So let's filter that out as fast as possible. Go into this location that just deletes iron gears. Now this one is almost correct, but not quite, because I actually do need to have a location here. That one. But that will also be making sure that this is not going to just take everything out, because I'm going to need some iron here. Oh, not legendary iron. Oh, go down here. But I want at least when it's more than 500. Because I'm going to need that. When it's more than 500, then it will just shovel it in here. It's happy. And then it'll just kind of delete everything as much as possible. This is consuming 240, so I should be able to consume, well, 240. I hope that should be enough to empty the belts. It looks like it's just barely. Now that's one of the things. The other thing is that I'm going to have a lot of other things on this belt that I don't need. I'm going to have concrete, and I don't want concrete. There's nothing in terms of our build for this one requires concrete. So I don't need concrete for this, and I don't need steel, and I don't need... well, I need a little bit of ice for the water, and I need a little bit of solid fuel for the rocket fuel. So those are also kind of useless. And so steel, concrete, water, ice, and solid fuel. Those are the highest quantity if we look at the recipe, and those are the ones I want to sort out. Batteries, we know we're going to need that because we need a lot of it for the accumulators. So batteries are going to be super useful. Now let's see a way that we can get rid of some of the things. So what I want to do is I want to find a way to belt stuff outbound to delete the steel and the concrete, because steel and concrete have really good ways of getting deleted. So I'm going to be taking here. You're going to be grabbing only concrete, and I'm going to take another one. That will be here. This will take only steel. There. So you can be here and here. Those are the ones where we want it. And this is one of the recyclers, and this is the other recycler. So, oops, that's going to be a thing, and that's going to be a thing. So I want this to go on a belt, and I want this to go on a belt as well. There. That should make sense. And then I need to do the same thing on the other side. So I can just take this part and flip it. Like that. Except that this will go now like that. So now we have a belt that is stacked things, and it's these things that are stacked, and then I need to delete it. So we need to make a deleter, and I don't care if they are on the same belt because I just need to delete everything. How do we delete everything? Well, I'm going to be doing something like this, this, here, and this will take care of the steel. This will take care of the hazard concrete. So that, and that should be fine, and they need to go really quickly. So do we have a beacon? Yes, we do. That goes. Let's make a beacon here, and then that just needs to go into a recycler. Don't think that needs to be particularly fast. Here and here, and they just go in and out, in and out. Right, so once this is done, let's see how that works. These are now consuming 360 something. You are somehow not working. Oh, right, okay, because it was just blocked with concrete. But now you can see that it is working again. And the point of the hazard concrete is that the hazard concrete just turns into normal concrete. So 10 concrete becomes 10 hazard concrete. 10 hazard concrete becomes 2.5 normal concrete, and that's just deleting this one as fast as we can see. You can see that now we're emptying the belt as we go along. Great, this is working. I'm gonna just take it down here and just make sure that we don't sort of waste too much space with it. So let's go like that. Yeah, there we go. All right, good. So we're now taking care of the most abundant stuff, which means that less flow back here, and if less flows back here for recirculation, that means there's going to be more of the scrap that gets reprocessed. You can still see that this belt is not moving very fast. We want a high scrap recycling as possible, because the only way to get Homium is from scrap directly, so we want scrap to be recycled. I'm going to be building something else, just something that can take care of the remainders of what I don't want here, and that's going to just be like a circulation like this, and that's going to be like 3 in between here. We're running out of these again. We need to get that again. So here, then actually we do need a location. This will be up and down. This will take ice up there, and this one will take solid fuel down. But I don't want this to run all the time, because there is a fair chance that I might actually need it for something. There. And then I'm going to request 500 of this. There we go. And also 500 ice as well. There. So they are requested now. Why are they not working? That's on the way. Oh, right, because I don't have any robots. We're going to be taking some robots in here. There. And they should just go in here. So that works. However, I want to make sure that I have some kind of storage here, so I don't use the last bits, because we're going to need some ice as well. So let me just say you're only going to work when you're above 500. Just want 500. It's too much. Actually, 200 is better, because I don't want it to be less than one of these stacks. So I'm going to do the same thing for you. This will also be capped. And all of this is just a matter of getting rid of things as efficiently as possible, so that this flows as well as possible. Because right now, these will be empty of ice and solid fuel, and we won't have so much ice and solid fuel. So the ice and solid fuel should now no longer go back on the belt. So the 4 things we now are filtering out are the 5 things we're filtering out are the 5 most abundant things we have as part of the scrap process. So first we take all the iron gears out, we convert some of it into iron, and we store that so we can use it. We take the solid fuel out, aside from what we're going to need. We take the concrete out, we take the ice out, we take the steel out. So that's a massive percentage that we don't recycle. And then we should see that this one recycles much better. As we start getting better, you can also see now we're recycling Homium, which we absolutely should not, but whatever, that's just what we want. Oh, how did that one get in here? Weird. Okay, well, it kind of works apparently. So what I need to do now is figure out a design process that sort of matches what we can expect from this one. So let's do a design process for this part here. The very first thing I always do is this part where I'm setting up and saying, okay, if I want 60 electromagnetic signs, how much would I need of all the other things? Okay, that's good. And then I start breaking it down, saying supercapacitors, what we need for 22 supercapacitors, break it down, and 22 accumulators, that's more batteries, and here. So all of this, just break it down, break it down, break it down, and then I can see that in order for this to run fully, we would actually need 275 scrap coming in. This is also why I'm still working on the last bits of scrap recycling, so I can get that to 300%. It's a long and arduous process, but since our science here, anytime we have a science that is where it's not missing the electromagnetic, then let's keep running on the electromagnetic so we can get this one working. And yeah, we'll also get it working once we get this going here. So that means we need to consume more than a full belt, but less than 2 full belts. So if we look at it, are we there yet? No, not really. But that is what it is. We can do some kind of calculation here. I'm just going to make a calculation to see if we can calculate how much is actually flowing on this belt. So here we have a measurement. It's not 100% accurate, but it does get the job done. So what I'm doing is I'm basically saying I want the belt always to flow here, but I want it to basically this is always flowing, so this is always going to be 480. Then I'm going to subtract, then whatever gets consumed, and then whatever flows out here is the residual from the 480. And if I measure how much is not getting consumed and then sort of just flows back, then that amount that flows back here is if 480 minus whatever flows back gives us the consumption rate. So this is the consumption rate right now. It's sometimes very low and sometimes it goes very high, but I want it to be actually 275, and it's not right now. But this is because this is in a steady state where it's not actually working anything, doing anything. So that gives us an idea about the consumption rate. Once this is flowing, we should see this number go up because less stuff will be recycled and more stuff will be consumed. So let's get started on the design work. That is going to be, we are going to be basically looking at this, and we're just going to be referencing. So I want 60, and then I want 22 and 22. So those are the numbers that we want. And then we're just going to start by making, we're going to be needing an awful lot of beacons. We're going to start all the way up here because this is going to be super beacon intensive. Here. There. These two are going to get closer, and I will get some kind of power pole in here somewhere. This. There. This is the maximum we can get for this one. This can't really get any more than this, unfortunately, but that's just the maximum. So we need to just figure out how much I want in here. There we go. This will be not much. Productivity. Thank you. 30. Absolutely perfect. So let's do double up on this one. There we go. That will get us exactly what we want. Then let's just shuffle things around in terms of power poles. These two need some power poles. So let's get that down here. Good. We can get this closer. I think we're going to need to do something like this, and this one will need to get closer. So right now we have exactly what we need. We have the 60 we want. So the next thing we want to do is figure out how many we want of, and the capacitors, this one. And remember, they're not doing anything legendary here. So this one. This is producing 21.3, so that's not quite enough. So throwing in a few more beacons is probably going to be fine. And let's just get that. Good. There, 23. So we're good. We're happy. That's good. This one will then require some 16 blue sticks capacitors. They are super easy to make, so we can just jam that up here. They produce quite fast. And flip this one as well. Yes. There you go. And how much is this? This is way more. So we now have this part done. This we can get from the scrap recycling. This we get from scrap recycling. This we have to make, but we can get it from scrap recycling. The light oil we have to get from some heavy oil nearby. And over here, from scrap recycling, from the production, and we need to produce it. We need to produce this. So those are good. Let's move down and find the next one. That is going to be the accumulators. Accumulators cannot have anything like this, so we're going to be taking this as our accumulator build. And we're going to get another one here and another one. Like that. And this one. And then we just need another power pole somewhere. Maybe these should just be upgraded to legendary. Then we don't need so many. There, legendary. That gives us a lot of coverage over here as well. This, actually, we don't need you at all. We don't need you at all, do we? Nope, you're good. Great. So how much is this? This is 23, and I needed 22. If we confer up here, I need 22. So this is fine. And now we have the bigger issue, and that is we start seeing that the amount of batteries we need is quite astronomical. So we do need to make some more batteries. We also need to make something over on this side. Let's get this. Let's see if we can get that. This is going to be the water thing. This one. And oh, you're going to have to go further over. Get over there as far as possible, because I need this to be getting a little bit more space. And you're needing there, that space. Good. And how fast is this? 350. And how much do we need when all is said and done? That is, oh, not even close to enough. So we need to get more in here. That's weird. Why is this so slow? Oops, this part. Oh, 655. Yeah, okay. So I was just only checking one of them. So there we go. 655. So this is enough for us. And then we just need to figure out some kind of way that this is working like that, and like this, and like this. So, okay. All of these other things we're going to do afterwards. So what do we need now? Now we need to break down and say we need some Homium solution, and we need to make some Homium plates. Those are the only real residuals we still have left. So let's make one of these. That's going to make some Homium. Just placing them in random places, right? You know that. That's just completely random places I'm putting them in. And you definitely need a beacon as well. So let's just plop down a little beacon. Where are you at in terms of throughput? Oh, it does need another power pole somewhere. There. This 166, we need to figure out how much we want. We definitely don't need 166 if we say we need 19. So this is fine. Unfortunately, the Homium cannot be made in any good way. It can only unfortunately be made in this awful way. So this was going to be the Homium solution. And that means it's really low throughput. Good. So this part, it does have some beacons. It gets 1000. That's exactly what we need. Let's see. Homium, 925. And this is going to be our bottleneck here. Can we produce 11 Homium per second? That's what we need to get. If we can do it, then this whole block works. If we can't do it, then it's not going to work. So I'm going to get this out here. And I really need this to actually go a little bit closer. It needs to go all the way up here. Because this needs to hit. And that means I need to get a jump over to this one. Oh, nope. There. There we go. So now this is all connected. And the water as well needs to be connected. Somehow. And I don't like, oops, I don't like this one. And there. I don't know if that's good or not. Probably not. Because now we need the water part. The water is going to be really simple. It goes from ice to water and it can be reprocessed. It's producing 600. It's not so much, but maybe that's going to be enough. Let's see. So now we need to start saying, okay, these are going to get stone and Homium inbound. Right? Stone and Homium inbound. What else do we need? You don't need anything inbound. Everything is, I kind of implied this, but everything is going to be one robot port network, and I cannot take all these things, filter them out, and get them out on belts. That's just not going to work. So, unfortunately, this will also have to be ice. So ice goes in here, becomes water. That's going to be fine, and we'll probably go on to other places. So now what we are going to see is that we're going to be missing a lot of batteries. But I want to start it up, see that we need batteries, and then start working on this. We do, however, also need to make some other things, and that is this needs light oil, and then we need some piping all of this. So let's get some light oil. We're going to get light oil. I can just get this, like a little, squeeze it in here, so it gets the heavy oil, turn it into light oil, because that's what we need up here, right? Like that. Does that make sense? It does kind of feel a little weird here, doesn't it? Yeah, I feel this should be closer, but it can't be. Well, we'll sort it out, and then I will also need. Yeah, hold it. Oh, there's definitely an issue here. All of this can be moved over one tile. There we go. And then that you can be moved over one tile. Because that's important, because I also need over here something. The only other thing that needs light oil is the fuel. So, and that also needs to. Actually, I want to consume as much as possible of this, so I'm just going to go speed module on this, I guess. Here. And don't care that I use more than I need to. There, there. Good. And you are going to get stuff inbound, so that should be. It can be inbound here, here. You're going to pass on. And this one is just going to make it out on a box. I could try to make it in on a belt here, but that would be weird. Oh, this is also weird. Could you get closer? No, this is too close. I need 2 tiles on that side. Plus, I need to make sure this is still at 60. Good. And that one. And what else do we need? We now need to get all the outbound stuff. We are going to get that out on the belt. So, yeah. So, I think that right now, it's just a matter of hooking up all the pipes and belts and stuff. So, let me do that, and then we'll see how the whole thing sort of activates. I do think... So it's time for us to start setting up the requesters, and we're going to be setting up requesters here. We're going to start by having ice. That's going to be 500. Good. So ice comes in. That means the water fills up. Great. The next one here, if we look at the ratios, 1 stone, 2 Homium. We're going to get not so much stone because we need stone for different things. So I'm going to be rather modest with this. But Homium, I want that to be filling up. So let's see if we can get as much Homium as possible. There we go. That means we now have the Homium process. And this one's going crazy as expected. I'll just make... actually, I don't want to make as many of these because it actually consumes Homium. And I don't want to consume Homium for something I don't need. This one will need to get some... Here, some stone. Let's go that up to 100. Because this is consuming 23 per second. And these are consuming 5 something per second. So this one is actually consuming way more stone. And you don't have it because you don't have the heavy oil. So the heavy oil will need to go in, and we'll get that from down here. There we go. And because heavy oil is just coming in from... Oh, that's weird. Oh, come on. There. Good. So heavy oil comes in, and this one's now... The electrolyte is now working. The heavy oil also goes over here and becomes light oil. Light oil goes in and gets ready here. It also goes in here and gets ready there. So next one to make is, I think, the rocket fuel. So we're going to just get a lot of this, 500, because why not? And that will go in and have 2 stacks. That's 200 rocket fuel ready. Is it working? No, that's not when it says 0. There we go. So that goes in, and this one starts working. This is producing at a rate of 9 per second, which is definitely enough to fire for our rockets. So no problems there. And then any excess goes up to the deleter. Then we're going to be setting up the requesters here. None of these quantities are very high. That's just basically a stack of that, a stack of that. And what was the last stack? That was Homium plates. So that's also just a stack of 100. Great. So those are coming in, and we see that this is sparking. Great. Homium also coming in. So we need electromagnetic and there, and batteries there. Right. So once those come in, then we see the next one coming. Great. So the last thing we need is basically... here is also something. If we look at this, the quantities requested, it's quite absurd numbers. So I think we actually need to say like 500 here. 500. And then 200 of that. Right? So let's see if that works. We have currently 100 robots. I'm going to buff that up to 200 just to make sure. Oh, and there's another thing as well that we might be working a little bit too fast. There we go. So that's running a little bit too fast. There. We could also put some stuff in here. If nothing else, we can always just put these. But they're working fast enough, so as long as they're working all the time, it should be fine. And that just now goes up here. So this production is 21 plus 21, so it's actually quite significant. We're going to need to get, let's say, 200 of this. That's definitely not what I want, so trash unrequested. It was 100 here. 100, yes. And the other is that one, 100. I wonder if that's enough. And then, lo and behold, we have it, and it goes up here. So now the only thing we need is we need to set up a build for this one. And we already have that available, I think, on Volcanus. We have something that we can use. So we're just going to simply take this one and recycle that into this space. There we go. The only difference is there. All right, that's done. And I'm going to take this out and this out. So now the question becomes, is it working? Maybe. I mean, there's a surplus build up, but what we will see very, very soon Yeah, sorry, YouTube compression. We're going to go a little bit closer here. This is definitely not keeping up. So we cannot, in any way, shape, or form, keep up with the build here. Also, probably shouldn't have this much, but we should have like one stack of that. It's kind of important for all the outputs. Except for the science output, we allow the science output to be much bigger here. This one, only a stack. This one is not stacked at all. This one has 2 stacks. Good. So, or 2 rows. Yeah, so we need to make more batteries. Luckily, batteries are not that big of a deal to make, though we do need quite a lot of them. The only question is, can we squeeze it in here? Because what we need is, we need to make a little bit of a process. We want to have 2 of these. They need to be 3 apart. And they need to make batteries. There and there. Get that in. And we're going to need a beacon in between. I'll just get it over here because we need a lot of requesters. And then they need a lot of this. Okay, so how much is this? 55 batteries. That requires a lot of sulfuric acid. It requires some iron and copper. Those are not big deals, the iron and copper. So it should be possible for us to get this outbound and inbound as well. Yeah. And that's just, how much was this in total? Yeah, 18. So let's just say 1 stack of that and 1 stack of that should be fine. And then we need sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid, if we can make that. Here, this also can be moduled, and it is hitting by this beacon, so this can make 4,500. That's enough. We do need a lot more water inbound, and we can get the water inbound here. Wow, that's loud. So they are actually launching already. Cool. So this is working. This needs iron as well. That comes in handy from here. And then it needs sulfur. So can we make sulfur? Like that? No, I'm gonna do it this way. Yeah. Because then I can do... Okay, so you get water inbound, and I need a stack here. So now the only thing we're missing is petroleum, and we have light oil up here, so let's see if we can get the light oil back down to somewhere useful. And then make it in here. Petroleum. And you sneak in here. How much petroleum? 297. That's definitely enough. And go in. In. There. You're working. Oh no. Productivity modules. Productivity modules. This is now no longer making enough water. So the question is that just right now to fill up, or is it a permanent thing? I think it's a temporary thing, because this will easily stack up. Because this, yeah, so now it's stacked up, and now it's only producing whenever it's necessary. This is now settling in. There we go. So now it was just sort of building up the buffers. These are working, fully stacked, just making tons and tons of that, and that gets us more batteries. This now has 55 batteries plus whatever is produced out here. And basically what we want to see is how much is being consumed, because the thing is, we want to consume this, and our main bottleneck here should be that number. So can we get 11 Homium per second? That's the stuff we need. Everything is fully productivity that is necessary. So if I'm saying, this is going to be a little bit of complicated build here. This one says 1%, 1 scrap becomes 1% Homium. So that's 1% of the scrap process is Homium. But if we get this one and the next one, then we get up to 300% scrap reprocessing. Let's see if we have one of those that's scrap reprocessing here. Yeah, it's kind of difficult to see when they are scrap reprocessing. But when they're scrap reprocessing, they also have 280%. You can see over the right hand side, 280% flickers. We're going to assume that we have 300%. So that means we get, for every 100 we have, then we get 4%. Or yeah, so it's 4%. So basically, if we say we want 11, then we divide it by 0.04%. That means we need 275 being consumed in order to get that. Then we can say, okay, if we are consuming 275, then it is a 4% yield of batteries, and then multiply by 4 because of the productivity gain. So that means it's 16%. That means it's 44 batteries we're making from the scrap recycling, if we are keeping up. And the 44 plus the 55 over here is definitely enough if we compare it to how much we need. Batteries, batteries, batteries. That one's 74 plus 8 additional. So that's enough batteries as well. So we should be good on batteries. This means now the real true bottleneck is, are we consuming things fast enough on the inbound belt? And then the question is, yes, we are. If this number is greater than 275 on average, then we are actually consuming more of this belt than we have to, which is perfect, because that means we get these two miners will then almost always working. They're going to go in, they're going to be happy, they're just going to flow around here. It consumes more than 275, which means we will get more than the 11 per second we need, even when it's stable, and that means we get the 60 per second up here that we want, which then happily goes in, and then we have a little block here that produces 60 electromagnetic signs per second. Isn't it beautiful? And what we can do is, we can basically also say, you know what, this one could actually just make a second one here, just like that. It's pretty simple to make that. I could even sort of flip this one, and I don't even need a second one here, and we could also build that here later on, and then we could actually get to a point where we have 2 inbounds. So I want to just make one more. The beauty of it is, this is going to be the module that we're going to be stamping down. We just stamp this one down and then get it going. The second unit has been built, and it's actually working already, because it's shared in it's a shared network here. But now the second one will also start working, and we just made a little change down here. So basically the whole process is going to be, we find one of these locations with scrap. There's one here, there's one here, there's a million of those here, 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 there's tons of those. All we need to do is, ideally we'd find a place like this where there's a large build area above it, because then we can just take it and go in. We can also just take this one and sort of loop it down and then use this space. This one can also just be brought up here and then use this space. Or you can just build it and then landfill the whole thing with foundation. But that's a little expensive. But in this case, you sort of landfill a little bit. This goes in, gets 4 full lanes out. Somehow these are not actually working. Why are they not working? Huh. It was quite logical. I was simply misplaced it. There. With this, because I have a blueprint like this, and that works. And then if I take all this out and use this blueprint again, like that. There, that works. And you're just gonna get that, and you can also just get that. Perfect. I don't know what's marked for deconstruction. Nothing. Good. So we see that this is now working fully, going in here, and these are topping up, and we now have production up here. These two are working all the time, and these two are also working all the time. So I'm just gonna put a bit of lights in it everywhere, and then we're gonna be saving this as a blueprint. I'm gonna save it as a blueprint like this, because that just makes more sense for me to have it as that kind of blueprint, and you can stamp that down. And basically every time you have one of these locations, you can get 120 electromagnetic signs. So however much you need, whether you build 10 of those and you have 1,200, I think I'll need to build, I think my target was 908 and 60, so that's for 8 of these modules I need to make these blocks here, and I already have another one up here. So it's just a matter of finding more of those, and then we're actually done with electromagnetic signs. So with that, thank you very much for watching. Remember, this blueprint is available to patron supporters, and if you're not a patron supporter, we built all of it on camera. You can build it yourself. You can also improve it, so it's even better. I'm really happy with it, because it does exactly what it needs. It just barely does. It gets exactly what I need to keep it growing, and which is perfect. So it's not really like a massive oversupply. I'm happy with it, and I can basically just leave it as it is and move on to the next challenge. Thank you for watching. Until next time, take care and stay effective.